The Information Deputy Minister Kindness Baraza says the government will not succumb to Citizens Coalition for Change leader Nelson Chamisa's demands for electoral reforms. If Chamisa wants electoral reforms, he has to work through Parliament. If the Electoral Amendment Bill goes to Parliament, it will go for public scrutiny through public hearings, where if he wants to make any submissions, he can do so through his members of Parliament and supporters, Baraza told the City Times yesterday. That is democracy in our view, but it does not have to be a demand because we do not succumb to demands. We are the ruling party and have been in power for 42 years, and we do not succumb to demands from the opposition. Baraza was responding to Chamisa's Twitter post that a 2023 pre-election pact is the only way to go for the country to avoid a disputed poll outcome. Chamisa, who narrowly lost to President Emmerson Mnangagwa in the disputed 2018 election, said various stakeholders should be consulted on the pre-election pact. There are no genuine reforms in the ZANU-PF government proposed electoral reforms by the cabinet. A pre-election pact on reforms by all parties, civil society and stakeholders is the key. Any unilateral political decision will produce a disputed and discredited national leadership, he tweeted. The government last month announced that the cabinet had approved the principles of the Electoral Amendment Bill 2022. Electoral stakeholders, including the opposition, however, said they were not consulted on the draft of the Electoral Amendment Bill 2022. The bill is still silent on demands by the opposition and other independent election watchdogs. In September, Chamisa launched the CCC's pre-election pact on electoral reforms blueprint. During the launch, Chamisa said Zimbabwe had over the years experienced a series of elections that failed credibly and integrity tests. Yesterday, the CCC spokesperson Fadzai Mahere said the electoral reform agenda remained CCC's priority, and the CCC is currently seized with ensuring that any amendments to the Electoral Act are the product of wide consultation with all stakeholders, including the civic society, citizens, and political parties. The citizens have unequivocally placed their faith in the CCC, Mahere has said. Against all odds, we have demonstrated that we are a competent, credible alternative to ZANU-PF. Even the Afrobarometer report states that if an election were called today, the CCC would win. The ZANU-PF can never win a free and fair election in Zimbabwe. That is sealed and settled, and this is why they are panicking and resorting to violence. And we want elections, not war. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, the ZEC Chief Elections Officer Utoile Slaigwana, demanded questions in writing when asked what progress had been made in addressing the CCC concerns over electoral malpractices. They are mere allegations which we do not know their basis. Send us questions and writing so that we respond, Slaigwana has said. He had not responded to the questions by the time of going to print. Some of the alleged electoral malpractices cited by the CCC include violence against its members, the ZEC's failure to release a credible voters' roll, vote buying and lack of access to the state media, among others. Public and political analysts say this pointed to another disputed poll. The analysts yesterday said odds were against the opposition as the country marches towards the 2023 elections. Analyst Rashwit Mukundu said the CCC is walking in a tightrope between a call for its supporters to come out in numbers to vote, while at the same time contending with the violence and uneven political environment. Hence, the shift to extremities and messaging on political mobilization strategies. Political analyst Vivid Gwede said the last round of the Afrobarometer showed Chamisa leading his opponent, President Mnangagwa. But the opposition should be cautioned against overconfidence. A lot has happened since those survey results came out. The CCC has ruled out boycotting the elections despite the failure by the government to implement electoral reforms.